bringing your point to the Islanders, if hypothetically, like if the Islanders were to beat the Lightning, the Islanders would definitely beat the Montreal Canadiens. The Eastern Conference or whatever conference they had was so much stronger than anything Montreal put out. Maybe Vegas could have been, but I genuinely feel like the Islanders could have taken this probably 5 games. It's just, you can't get over. Tampa's just too deep. For every like good player they have that the Islanders had, Tampa had a one that was like slightly better, more experienced, better coached. Like the Toronto teams, like you were saying earlier, Andrew, are usually well coached. They always have been. It's just Tampa it's that they're just.
I mean, the talent. I mean, at a certain point. I mean, how many players you think, like, from just, if you're not an Islanders fan, can you name on the Islanders besides like Barzal or whatever? Like for the Lightning, you got the names and you got great players, and also they're great, well coached, as you were saying. Like, I mean, they may be building. Look, they just won the Stanley Cup last year, so it's not like this team's coming out of nowhere. Like, I mean, and that's just, I think makes it even more impressive, their run. But I definitely think that's kind of the most, when you talk about the what if with the Islanders, as you were saying, it's just like, I think they'd be in a similar position. And, what kind of puts, I guess, a salt in the wound, like for fans like my brother, who's just such a big Islanders fan, it's you play without your captain Andrews to lead the whole playoffs. And like, would he in that game 7, would he have been the difference to score 1 goal to tie the game up, bring it to overtime? Because, just how close that game was. Really the only blowout was like the 8-0 game, which my brother went to, obviously that's the game he went to. I was talking to you guys about it earlier, but that's kind of, the situation the Islanders, they played their hearts out. And like, I think also last game in the Coliseum finally for good. Like obviously the last time they did it, they ended up coming back, but this time it's for good. They're moving to Belmont, but it's just like, you may have been getting ready for a parade and, out in Long Island, and, for the Islanders, it's just, it wasn't meant to be. And, you have the Lightning, who are now, 1 step away, maybe a few goals away right now too, hoisting up back-to-back Stanley Cups.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Nick, I just cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Andrew, non-biased, do you truly believe that Anders Lee would be that next step? Like, if you weren't an Islanders fan, if you were to look at the team from a completely different point of view, do you think he has what it takes to bring them over the hump to beat Tampa in that game 7?
That's the thing. It's just 1 goal. Like, maybe as a series, like, I don't know, like, I don't really know. Like, we'll never know. Like, I think could he have been that difference maker to score 1 goal? Maybe not, but it's just like, it's tough to be 1 goal away and lose 1-0. It wasn't like, it was such a hard fought game. And, it was like that brand of just physical playoff hockey. It's just like, that's, I think, the disappointing part. But I mean, look, to them to get to that point, I think a lot of people probably, being like an unbiased, hockey fan, you're probably like, oh, for them to get to that point was probably pretty like, they probably played their potential. But, to play without your captain, maybe if you never know, like it's 1 goal, like, when you think about, get to the nitty gritty down to it. I mean, the Lightning are just such a good team, as you said, though. They're just such a juggernaut. And on this Islanders team, they have a lot of, hard decisions. They're up against the cap. It's just like, it's a tough situation. Is like, that's the way you're losing. Now you have to deal with, you don't know if you're ever going to be back, especially for them to play the Lightning the year before too. So it's like a complete, like, a carbon copy of last year. I think that adds maybe a little more salt to the wound, but it's going to be really interesting to see the offseason out on Long Island, and also, to see kind of where they try to, take their next steps to try to, really over, because really the Lightning are the only team that they couldn't beat. They got over the Bruins, they got over, the Penguins, they got over all these teams. Lightning have been that one just, kryptonite, and we'll see what they can do to really, I don't know if the Lightning are just so good. It's difficult to see what move they can make to just, to give them 1 more goal, more consistent scoring for sure. But, the way the Islanders play hockey, it's just, the Lightning are that good. It's just, it'll be very difficult. It'll be interesting to see, though. Maybe these 2 teams are in a similar playoff series down the line this year and in a few years. It'll definitely be interesting.
Yeah, and Andrew, I'll go back to the 8-0 game that you mentioned, which I still am just baffled by. But I guess it's kind of make a summarizing point for myself here is, it's just the sheer dominance that this team has shown. Winning a playoff game 8-0, winning a hockey game 8-0, regardless, is very, very difficult. Do that in the playoffs, okay, come on. Even Game 3, I remember watching, of the Stanley Cup. The Lightning, came out second period right away, 2 quick goals. And just like that, they go from 2-1 to 4-1. And it's just, I remember almost like it was so quick. I was like, did that just happen now all of a sudden? I'm like, oh my God, I think this game's over. And they ended up taking it 6-3. it's just really a show of just a testament to their I guess kind of just the overpoweredness of that team. The defense is phenomenal. Their offensive attack, from what I saw, was just scary. I don't know how you can slow them down. And tonight, who knows? In a half hour, maybe whenever this game is over, the Lightning could be back-to-back champs.
Who knows? I mean, it's one of those things. Like when I think about the Islanders series, I think, and when they lost, I think about the offseason. Like, what is it going to take for the Islanders to get over the next step? Like, Andrew, you couldn't put it any better. They have some serious cap decisions they have to figure out. The number one thing is letting Varlamov go. He's an older goalie. It happens all the time. Sorokin was okay in his playoff debut, but the biggest thing, you have to re-sign Barzal. You have to keep him. He's the heart and soul of the team. He's a speed, and honestly, you have to keep those two guys.
Barzal, he's crazy. He's just like, he's hot knife going through butter. Like you would think like what he does, on ice is like what some guys they can't even do on, the grass. It's ridiculous the way he plays, and he's a fun player, especially like the way the Islanders play, which is so muddy it up, physical, and like for him to just slice through guys.
Yeah.
It's like,
end to end.
He makes it look so easy. But before, we stop our hockey.